So without taking too much time, let me first show you what's happening in India. What are the headlines? There are a lot of headlines coming on blockchain. Let's start from there and then have a look at my presentation. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Here we have one of the best headlines for anybody aspiring a tech career, or even for that matter, a non-tech career. Blockchain works with both. That's the best part. Anyways, Computer World India said the demand for blockchain engineers is through the roof. That's a lovely headline. What happens when demand is there? We get sky-high salaries. Wow, we love sky-high salaries. We are all aspiring for good jobs, and most important, good careers. Blockchain is now giving you that opportunity. Grab that. Next, we see another headline. We have another headline says, this was in Data Quest. Data Quest, I'm sure all of you who are, I love this magazine. Blockchain developers are likely to earn double or triple compared. Wow, that is a nice thing. We all like that. Yep. And we have another headline. Why are blockchain developers the highest paid today? Well, let's not answer that. Let's have a look at the presentation, then answer that. But that's the Times of India headline. We have another very interesting one. Because of all this talk about blockchain, what's happening? People say it's going to come to India. Crypto is going to come to India or not. Now, crypto and blockchain are two entirely different things. The cryptocurrency or bitcoins are made on the blockchain. They are like cars on a highway. There are many, many cars, but the highway remains the same. You cannot drive a car without the highway or the road. Similarly, cryptos exist because of blockchain, and blockchain came bundled with the crypto in 2008 and 9. That's why there's a confusion that they are the same, but they're not the same. Anyways, remember the car and remember the road. Blockchain is the road. Crypto and other currencies are just the vehicles. So a vehicle may come or may go, but the road always remains. So when in that context, a British fintech firm is opening physical crypto bank branches in India. Isn't that big? You can now buy officially, you can buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, whatever you want, Litecoin, Dragon, whatever. Everything can be bought there now. That's a very good move in a direction in India. We never had this before. They're opening 34 physical branches, 34 in the first year. That is 2021. The first has already opened in Jaipur. The second one, third one, and the next 34 are all going to be North India. After that, the next year, they're going into West and South India to have 100 branches. We are officially training at least about 600 to 800 people right now for this bank. That's called Unicas. Then let's have a look at this. This is another very big news when there's a lot of confusion whether we are going to allow crypto, not allow crypto, etc., etc., etc. Well, Indian banks are allowing customers to trade in cryptos now. And when was this? December 12, 2020, just hardly a month back. ICICI, HDFC, Yes Bank will offer various facilities to exchanges where you can buy this. Now, what does it all mean? Things have just started. You, as students, are at the ground floor opportunity. You can only go up. The lift, the escalator has got only one way. It's up. We are right now at the ground floor. It's just starting. And very important, look at this. This is a document which came recently. Fintech, which is an integral part also of blockchain, was talked about in the current budget. And a 1,500 crore is being put aside for fintech, which is the financial aspect of the blockchain space. And they're putting up a fintech hub in Gujarat, which is part of the whole budget. It's been just done. So that's a very, very big thing. We like these headlines. Now let's have a look at something more than these. Okay, now we saw what the headlines were. I'm not going to say, all right, let's have a look now at my presentation. Let me just check where it's gone. Yeah. Here we go. Ritesh, is it visible, my presentation?
It is visible, Raj.
Perfect.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Excellent, excellent. Let's go ahead. Okay, let me now give you an overview about blockchain. Blockchain is a huge, huge subject. We talk about blockchain, we talk about fintech, We talk about decentralized finance or DeFi, which is taking the world by storm right now. But before that, let's understand the basics, some basics. About 45 minutes to an hour, just enough to just cover some points. So we'd love to speak more later on, but let's get an idea. At least you know what is this phenomena called blockchain. So let's go inside this world of blockchain. First and foremost, unlike other information technologies, this is a big difference. Blockchain is called an institutional technologies because it brings about a revolution. It becomes a revolution in countries, in technologies, in the way people think and appear and do things. So what happened? What is the first institutional technology? It was the internet. That was the first institutional technology. And now what do we have, my friends? Students, faculty, we got the blockchain. We've got it right there. We got it pegged right in. After the internet, the second big revolution in the tech space is blockchain. You know how internet has disrupted the market, and it created a digital world where there are tons of data. While that was a great thing, tons of data is also insecure. You got all your data, everybody. We all talk of data security, data privacy, blah, blah, blah. And here comes blockchain to take care of that problem. But it's come 25 years later, but it's come. Let's have a look further. Well, in January 2020, Niti Aayog even published the first of the two-part blockchain strategy plan for adopting blockchain in India. Now, why is this really important? And by the way, just a few days back, or 3 or 4 days back, they also took out another, not them, the Ministry, MIT has also taken out another document on blockchain. I'll be happy to share it with you at some point, whenever you like. Why have these two documents come out? This is one, and there is another document come out, 2021. These two documents define the landscape of blockchain in India from a government perspective. Now, the government, when it starts taking interest in the technology, means it is serious. Not only the government is serious, the technology is serious because it's the worldwide adaptation of a technology. And India is not going to be left far behind. We are a fantastic tech nation. We also love to adopt great technology at the right time. We should not be the laggards. We should be the forerunners. So this document came and it actually showed all of us, or all those who are interested can download it from the Niti Aayog website. And it said what? It said, well, we can use the concepts of blockchain, learning from the Bitcoin, and use it in multiple locations, multiple sectors, multiple use cases for land registry, birth certificates, e-governance. It keeps on telling us, listing out the roadmap of the next few years of how the government is going to adopt blockchain. When the government adopts blockchain, two things happen. One, the technology gets evangelized. And second, lots of jobs are created. That's the idea, creation of jobs. We are going into an uncertain future post-COVID. But the future is not uncertain. It's just a challenge like any other year. Look at it that way. This document pins down the blockchain, how it's going to impact all of you. We had a beautiful headline with the Forbes that day, and I keep sharing this with everybody. Why? Because it's going to be the truth of life. What's the headline? It says, very soon we won't trust anything unless it's on the blockchain. Yes, my friends, there have been now consulates, governments, United Nations, international monetary funds, World Bank, etc., are all asking for major processes to be put on the blockchain. And that's just one thing happening. There are so many others. I could go on and on. I could spend 3 hours on that. But let's come back. Why will it not be trust? The presentation, when I go further, you will understand better. I will link it back to this headline. Remember this headline. Remember it throughout your life, because you are going to come across this at some point in your careers. Maybe then you'll realize, one day I heard a webinar and somebody told me, very soon we won't trust anything it's unless we're blockchain. Let's go further and see why. Blockchain now is as significant as the internet was 25 years ago, and we discussed that some time back. You also know, and I also know today, without the internet, you and I would not be able to chat. Right now, you're chatting on Microsoft Teams. It's the wonder of the internet. You've seen the Amazon, the Flipkarts, you name them, the Baiju's. Everybody is because of the internet. They are companies formed because the internet was in place. Otherwise, did you have a Google before the internet? No, you didn't have it. Did you have a Facebook prior to that? No, you didn't have it. Yeah, you had Ford Motors, you had many other companies, but you didn't have these. These are new age giants which have come post internet. So now blockchain gives you another opportunity to create a new wave of mega tech companies. I want to see how many from your institute are part of it in the future. I'd love to have all of you at some point. Anyways, we also know that everything is on the database. Yes, your academic records, your financial records, your telecom records, everything is on the internet. Why? Even your Google history is on the internet. Google tracks every move you make through Google Maps, through its platforms. They know exactly where you're sitting right now. They know exactly where I'm sitting right now. So your records, your data, if the minute you step out, you get up in the morning, you have sold your data to somebody. The minute you check your phone for the first time, you actually sold that data. You know that you are helping people make money and you are not aware of it, and nobody's giving you a part of the money. Here comes blockchain to change all that. How does it change? Let's see. The old question used to be, and this is William Buchheyer. He's the founder of Startup Management. Now, he invested a lot in companies. Now he invests only in blockchain-enabled companies or anything which is impacted through blockchain. So he says the old question was, is it in the database? Is going to be replaced by, is it on the blockchain? Wow. Big statement. Databases are going to become redundant. Blockchain is going to be the next gen, the next internet, whatever you want to call it. It's the next big thing. Let's understand it a little more. Now we have Bill Gates talking good stuff about it. Oh, Bill Gates says blockchain technology will be a new game changer in the coming decade. Well, it sure is. And we even have the Prime Minister. He also said in July 2020 that with technologies in frontier technologies in 5G and blockchain, well, that's what we're going to be looking at in the near future. So there are a lot of people who talk about it. Now, before I actually, these are some of the things you heard from me and through some of the people who are pioneers in the industry. But all of you know the following. Do you know Jack Ma? Yes, you know Jack Ma. Do you know Elon Musk? Yes, you know Elon Musk. Do you know there are a lot of people in this industry, big giants. Now let's quickly have a look as to what they are saying. Right? Just give me a moment and I will show you what they are saying. That's very, very important because that's how the world is moving. Here we go. Have a look at this video. 5 minutes. Relax. Have your coffee and just enjoy this.
I think blockchain is going to be a very critical technology for the future development of the world. It's not only about financial. Blockchain technology is not about Bitcoins. Bitcoin is just a small function of the blockchain technology. I'm a strong believer of the blockchain technology.
This is not about Bitcoin or digital currencies or crypto assets. It's the underlying blockchain technology. Now people can trust each other and they can transact with anything from money to music to votes to their identities peer-to-peer.
Bitcoin is either MySpace or it's Facebook, I don't know. But blockchain is social media. So at the macro, blockchain is going nowhere, right? Like blockchain is here to stay forever, and it's a very big deal.
Enter blockchain. Satoshi Nakamoto, 2008, anonymous person, came up with this way of people transacting, doing business with assets peer-to-peer. And trust is not achieved by a middleman. It's achieved by cryptography, by collaboration, and by some clever code. And what that means is that we now have a native digital medium for value.
Effectively, a software.
I mean,
So
it's a
what-
distributed database that's managed independently, and that inherent combination makes it a utility, makes it software effectively that has value in each.
The business world of the future, say 10 years from now, is going to run on smart contracts. It's going to run on strong encryption and on, peer-to-peer based consensus mechanisms. So the core technologies underlying blockchain are going to pervade everything, just like the internet has, just like object-oriented software has.
So the choice, what do you think will be here in 2040? Will the dollar be here?
Right.
I don't think so. And will blockchain be here? I think so.
We think of Bitcoin as a digital gold, so gold 2.0, but it's money, the first step of money that was ever built purposely for the internet. So it's sort of like what your email did to snail mail. Cryptocurrency or Bitcoin does for money.
Well, Bitcoin is exciting because it shows how cheap it can be. Bitcoin is better than currency in that you don't have to be physically in the same place. And of course, for large transactions, currency can get pretty inconvenient. The customers we're talking about aren't trying to be anonymous. They're willing to be known. So the Bitcoin technology is key, and you could add to it, or you could build a similar technology where there's enough attribution that people feel comfortable. This has nothing to do with terrorism or any type of money laundering.
It's still very early. Institutions, everybody knows about it. Everyone's heard about it. And there's some very sophisticated people in even these banks who know about cryptocurrency, but they're still not really in the game yet. It's still very much a retail-driven market. Very much a lot of the actions out in Asia. So we still think it's the bottom of the first inning. If you read this book, you understand how we got here and how far it's come. But it's also just sort of the beginning in a lot of ways.
Well, I think it is working, and there will be other currencies like it that may be even better. But in the meantime, there's a big industry around Bitcoin, and people have made fortunes out of Bitcoin. Some people have lost money out of Bitcoin.
It's volatile. It's volatile.
Yeah, but it is quite volatile. But when in volatility, people can make money out of volatility.
So where I see crypto as effectively as a replacement for cash, but not as a replacement as a primary, I do not see crypto being the primary database.
I would say there's a lot of need for developers even at the core protocol layer. So things like improving protocol scalability, working on the client implementations of things like proof of stake. Layer 2 systems, things like state channels and Plasma could probably use a lot more smart people. On the application stuff, I guess you could always use more, but there's probably quite a lot more of that already.
So we saw here a lot of things happening. Let's have a look at what's the agenda. The agenda is, what is a blockchain? Let's understand what's a blockchain. Let's understand why it started, especially since we had the banking system, digital systems, cybersecurity, everything in place. Why did blockchain come in? And most important for you, all you students, where are the blockchain jobs? All right. First, let's understand a blockchain in very simple words. A blockchain is a timestamp series of immutable records, not owned by any one person. Three things here. Timestamped means when you start creating a blockchain, it's always timestamped. So you can trace it down from the date started till today. It's immutable. Then that's one of the biggest factors of success of blockchain. It's immutable. It cannot be changed, altered, destroyed, replicated, or replaced. Nothing. And it's not owned by any single person. And because it's not owned by any single person, what is the result? You can't hack it easily. It's so difficult. If it belonged to any one person, it could be compromised. And what are these blocks? These blocks are data blocks, data which is financial data, any data, academic data, anything related to you, as wherever there is a data generation, and it's secured with each other with lines of code called crypto principles out of the chain. It's quite like this. You heard of this saying, don't put eggs in one basket. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. What does that mean? The basket being the centralized database and the eggs being the data. Now, in a centralized database as it is now, what are the risks? Just think of the basket now. If you have a basket of eggs, what can happen? The basket can fall down. A couple of eggs might break. The basket can get stolen. It can get misplaced. Somebody can just steal a couple of eggs from the basket, or somebody can steal all the eggs from the basket. Now, compare that to the data. Your data right now is like all your eggs in one basket. Very easy to get into, to get hacked into, to penetrate, etc. Imagine now you put the same basket, 12 baskets with 12 different eggs in 12 different areas of the world. How likely are all to be lost, destroyed, or disappeared? Very unlikely. That's blockchain for you. It splits the risks of data security. Here we go. Very simply, you create a block. All the blocks fit together, and they only fit if the previous block and the next block match, just like a jigsaw puzzle. You cannot fit two pieces, two unmatching pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. Only the right piece will fit with the other piece. Blockchain is just the same. Then these are blocked together, one after the other, like a jigsaw, and this whole thing is formed into an irreversible chain. Once you create the data, it is no way you can remove the data. If you have to remove or change any data, you have to remove a complete block, remake a new block, and then it has to match with the first and the next block, then put it back. That's why it's so safe and secure. You can just have a look at the infographic here. So what does the block contain? A timestamp, your data, and what is known as this private key. That's the key. You have the key. You can decide whether you want to share your data. You can decide whether you want to sell your data or whatever. No one else decides it for you. Right now, every banker, every call center, everybody got your data. Do you know 55,000 plus marketing agencies in India have your data? They have your email ID, they have your phone numbers, they even have your Aadhaar and PAN card. Not safe. Absolutely not safe. This is just the beginning of it. And it's just getting worse and worse because everyone has access to your data. Everyone can sell your data. Well, let's go ahead. So this data block is decentralized. Now it's no longer stored in one place. Verified, a ledger, it's in a ledger, gets verified, and the blocks, like a jigsaw puzzle, keep getting formed. So let's have an example. I'll give you an example now. We need to transfer money from A to B. Me to you, right? Okay, I may be sitting in the United States and you're sitting in India. And we say, well, let's put the money into your pockets. What do? We open our net banking application or go on the net, and absolutely with a few clicks, a couple of OTPs and verification protocols, and bingo, money is to the other person. If it's international, it takes a few hours or a day or so. If it's local, oh, well, it goes instantaneously. We're very happy. Everything is fine. That's what we think. Everything is fine. Yes, it's fine for the time being. Everything is working fine. But what is the thing which we are relying on? We are relying on a bank to transfer the money. I may be having a different account. You have a different account. And there's a reserve bank. All these three. So your data is now with three different people for that one transaction. Right. Anyway, nothing wrong with that. Also, whatever has happened, it's all stored in a centralized repository somewhere in the world. By the way, all our data is stored not in India, it's stored outside the country. All our data on cloud is not in India. Well, think about it. How safe is it? Anyways, We always depend on a bank or a credit card, MasterCard, Visa, Paytm, PhonePay, Google Pay, all sorts of things. But there's a bank involved everywhere. And there's a commission which is cut every time. Someone or the other pays that commission. Either you or the merchant, somebody's paying. Now, what happened when the Bitcoin was created? It said, listen, guys, you don't need a bank to transfer money or any other asset. You can move assets or money from one place to the other without the bank. So look at that. This bank is gone. Now I can transfer money in any area, remote areas, anywhere. I can do that. And the data, which was right here in one place, boom, all across the globe. All these little nodes are where your data is stored. That, my friends, is called a Bitcoin blockchain network. And what has it done? Your data has become disintermediated. Now you don't need the bank or any other middleman, saving you money because you don't pay commissions, you don't pay service charges. No, nothing. It becomes distributed. So no longer is it in one place. It's your data has gone all over the globe. Just imagine a hacker trying to get into this easier, this really difficult. All the nodes he'll have to crack. Very difficult, time-consuming, expensive. He won't do it. So it's distributed, it's decentralized, and now therefore trustful. As you go through the next few years of your life, in your academic careers and in corporates, this word will come very often. Programmable trust. Blockchain gives you an opportunity to create programmable trust. Now, we had the Reserve Bank ledgers. You had your ledger, your bank ledger. She had her ledger. What can happen with these ledgers? As I said, like the basket, there can be errors in the ledger, human errors. Tampering can be done. Of course, tampering is there. Your files can be deleted because somebody can actually have access and delete them, or they can get lost. How do you think the Vijay Malliyas and the Choksis and the Modis, Nirav Modis have fled the country? Thousands of crores have been siphoned off from our markets, Indian markets. Hard-earned money of Indians gone out because somebody was there to do the tampering, deletion, all sorts of manipulations. It was done. Had it been on the blockchain, it would have been virtually impossible. Right, so here we go. Now your single data has become multiple. Your ledgers have gone all over, and therefore now it's very secure because it is now, it's also permanent and immutable. So let me tell you now, very interesting. Why did blockchain start? As I said, we already had a financial system. We had currency. We had cybersecurity, which is so-called protecting our data. Well, there was a reason, and that reason took place in 2008. 2008 was a watershed mark in the financial community. So many financial irregularities were found that the markets globally crashed, starting with the United States. The Dow Jones crashed from there, sending ripples of fear across the market, global markets. We had the big boys, very large banks, financial institutions, including Lehman Brothers, etc., which wound up, and banks were, pulled up for a lot of discrepancies, etc. People lost faith in the financial sector, and when you lose faith in your banks, that's a very worrying thing. So much so that millions of people lost their jobs, thousands and thousands of small businesses shut shop. Oh, it was a big problem. Even India had the ripple effect of that. Coming back now, during this time, somebody said, I have to find a solution, which is I don't have to depend on the bank all the time, at least not for money transfer. Other things, yes, the bank can do, but my money transfer, I don't need to do it because these guys cannot be trusted as much as I used to trust them before. So they said, let's form something. So they created a program in the back end, and that back end was Bitcoin. Bitcoin was built on the blockchain. Basically, it was wrapped together. You need a platform to run anything, and Bitcoin was created. How? The paper was created first in 2008, 2009, the usage started. Now, what was Bitcoin, and what was the paper about? It is about another system that actually it would help you transfer money or any asset, digital asset, from person to person without the need of a middleman. And in this case, it was the bank. You could transfer data, you could transfer IP, you could for copyrights, you could transfer digital currencies, everything. That they proved it through this paper. And actually, do you know something? Bitcoin was not even supposed to be created. It was the platform which was created. They just built the coin to show how the money would travel or an asset would travel from A to B. That was just made for that. It was just for fun. But look what it's done today. Today at $30,000 plus, it's a major force to reckon with. And who was the gentleman who was told that who was the guy who was attributed to setting it up? Well, an anonymous person by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. Well, if you have a name, why is it anonymous? I'll tell you. That was not his real name. How would anybody give his name? Because he had challenged the entire financial markets with the global giants like Citibank, HSBC, JP Morgan, Lehman Brothers. Wow, he challenged everyone and made a system which was the monopoly of these big giants. He made a system which said, I don't need you big giants. I don't need you to dictate how to run the economies and the banks. Satoshi Nakamoto was the name given to the person who created this entire phenomena. Just as a little bit of knowledge, you should know what is Satoshi Nakamoto. People say that it's somebody, but no, I believe, and this is the community believes, the blockchain community believes that there are some companies which came together, which formed this, because you needed money, resources, manpower, all sorts of things. So Sa comes from Samsung, Toshi comes from Toshiba, that's Satoshi. Naka comes from Nakamichi Corporation, and Moto comes from Motorola. Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, can you see the connection? These giants created a system. Well, it's not proven that they were the ones who made it. It's just a hearsay, but most likely scenario. These guys created a system where you did not need a middleman, and there were so many fundamental, and money could be secure, transparent, records could be immutable, traceable, trackable, timestamped. It created a fantastic disruption in first the financial markets and now every sector. So it grew. Bitcoin grew in 2009 to Ethereum's. You might have heard of Ethereum and Hyperledger. They came up in 2015. Open source, then came Corda, then came Algorand. There are so many more. These are just a little bit. It's just growing now. The phase has just started. And all these platforms brought about new evolutions in the blockchain. All right, sorry. What happened first? This was the journey. Awareness. It took 5 years for people to be aware what are the advantages of blockchain and Bitcoins. Then they experimented in different sectors outside the financial sector. So 2016 to 18, that's what was happening. A lot of progress was happening. A lot of proof of concepts, pilot projects were going on. And 2018 to 22 was the transformation phase when every sector said, yes, we want to implement blockchain in some of our processes, if not all. That's been the big evolution over 3. So which are the sectors using blockchain? Well, let's have a quick look. Well, we all know banking is. Government, very big user of blockchain, and I'll show you a chart which shows that. Retail sector, manufacturing, supply chain, agriculture, voting, real estate, utilities, media, healthcare, logistics. Well, guys, almost every sector which you can think of, these are just a few of them, every sector is impacted by blockchain. Do have a look at this chart. It's a pie chart. You see a lot of sectors into this. Very important is the next chart as well. The next chart says, boom, India, 50% of the states in India are involved in blockchain-related initiatives, driving the public sector blockchain adoption in the country. Look at this. We've got over 90 projects going on in the country as I speak, and more in the pipeline. In fact, my team, and I was one of the people who actually completed a blockchaining of all property taxes in Maharashtra, Thane district. We are doing the similar work in a couple of other places as well. The bottom line is the government is awake to blockchain, aware of blockchain, and using it in so many, many cases. So before I go any further, just to make you understand a little better how this is working, let me explain to you in a small video how other sectors are using blockchain or getting impacted by the blockchain. Let's have a look at this. Have a look, 2 minutes.
Blockchain. The open source digital ledger is known as the backbone of cryptocurrencies. But the tech community has been busy finding other innovative ways to apply the technology. So let's take a look at just some of its potential uses. The first is banking. The existing banking system is complex and often slow due to multiple layers of intermediation. Blockchain provides a secure way of sending digital assets without these third parties. Not only could this simplify the banking process, but it could also open the doors to those with no previous access to financial services. Next is real estate. Without the need for middlemen, this sector could also see vast changes. Blockchain can process title deeds, facilitate transactions, and even grant access to properties through smart keys. The technology could streamline property sales, saving buyers time and money. In third is legal services. In a similar way to real estate, blockchain could disrupt the practice of law through smart contracts. These are legally binding contracts that are written in code so they can be executed exactly as intended. Next, we have online voting. Blockchain companies are exploring the potential to digitalize voting systems. The fear of hackers manipulating online votes could be put to rest by encrypted blockchains, creating a transparent and secure voting system. The fifth potential use of blockchain is financial trading. The Nasdaq Stock Exchange announced it would consider blockchain as a means of recording transactions and data. If the system is successful, it might be replicated in exchanges across the world. Next up is food production. Blockchain technology can also be used to simplify the way we produce food, tracking goods from farm to fork. Efficiency in the supply chain would mean more profit for companies, improved food safety, and fresher produce. In seventh is airlines, who are exploring the capacity of blockchain to speed up passenger identification and processing. It could cut down the amount of time spent in queues, and passports could be stored on the ledger itself. Following this is personal identification. Blockchain could merge all sources of ID into one open source and secure record. This would reduce theft and loss of documentation while protecting the individual's right to privacy. The ninth use is music rights. Blockchain can be used to improve the rights of producers and musicians in an era of digital streaming. The ledger could facilitate instant transmissions of artistic royalties each time a song is played online. And finally, the healthcare industry. It's exploring the potential of blockchain in the exchange of data.
That's a lot of industries, friends, a lot of industries, but that's not the end. This is just the very beginning. We have seen recently the Election Commission talk about putting the voting on the blockchain, which we saw in the video here. We've seen the Prime Ministers talk about a national health card with all your data on a single card. Now, as we said, it's easy to have it on a database, but is it on the blockchain? Yes, they are contemplating putting the national health card on the blockchain for security of data, so you can only share if you want. Like this, there are so many cases. We will talk about that some other day. Let's continue with a little more of our stuff which we need to discuss today. And here we go. Oh, that is here, right? Okay, we saw this, now we see this. Let's see what some experts have spoken, and let's see where it takes us from a job perspective now. That's the interesting part. We got an idea what is a little bit about blockchain, what the world is saying. Where are the users? It's no longer in the financial sector. It's in every sector. The Amazons, the KPMGs, the Tatas, everybody who's hiring needs blockchain expertise. Now, Gartner says it's going to be a $3 trillion business by 2030. 3 trillion is bigger than the GDP of India and of hundreds of other nations, developing nations. Wow, that's massive for a technology. That's just one technology. It's not the GDP, it's the technology. Look at that size. Second, hired says 400% growth over last year. Wow. NASSCOM says, globally, guys, we just got 45 to 60,000 skilled resources. Now, this was in 2019-20. Maybe a couple of thousand have been increased, but that's nothing. Nothing. Now, what do these numbers tell you? They tell you, I have the opportunity now to get into the blockchain bandwagon. I can grow in this space. Look at the numbers. They only show opportunity. Even LinkedIn, if you go and see, the most in-demand skill for 2020 was, yes, blockchain. NASSCOM, again, in their report, said in India, we got just 5,000 people who possess blockchain skills. That's a very poor report card for a technology which has taken the world by storm. We need to get more people in our country because there are huge demand. There's a huge demand and very little supply. And we all know what happens when there's a huge demand and supply. Jobs go through the roof, salaries go through the roof. So we have even recruiters like Paul Dupois, the MD of Randstad India, big time recruiting for Amazon, the IBMs, etc. He says salary for ready to deploy techies with blockchain experience are twice that of a techie without blockchain experience. All right, great. Now we come to the main thing. Let's talk about jobs. We are students. A lot of us are students. Even I'm a student at my age. No problem. I keep learning myself. So jobs and careers. What are the jobs and careers and where are they? We all know there's a shortage and we all know there's a demand. So let's go beyond that. So for those who are, the best part about blockchain is if you have technology affinity, if you like technology, there are jobs for you. If you are not in the tech space and you have not done programming or coding, there are plenty of jobs for you too. So for those who want to become developers, architects, look at the jobs on the left. That is blockchain developers, blockchain engineers, quality engineers, architects, lots of great jobs there. There are many more. I'll show you a little more as we go. If you're doing a business analytics, for example, or a data analytics, you can become a research analyst. You can become a blockchain data scientist. You can become a risk analyst. And for those who want to take a chance in life and become successful entrepreneurs, of course you can be. There is no, you get out of the blockchain bandwagon, you'll be fine. For those who are in the non-technical space, all right, you got to have project managers, attorneys. Who are blockchain attorneys? They are like the chartered accountants of blockchain who know about crypto laws, etc. You can become a blockchain tech recruiter. So somebody does an MBA in HR, yeah, well, you can too get a job in blockchain because you got to hire people in blockchain. And you cannot hire people if you don't know it yourself. So that's enough. Of late, I've seen fantastic results in crypto journalists. There have been a burst of global platforms in crypto, and they all require journalists, people who understand the space. I have seen a growth of almost 2,000% from last year to this year in crypto journalists also. Analyst managers, business development, ICO advisors. ICO is initial coin offerings, just like we have the IPOs right now in India, in initial public offerings, but ICO in coin offerings, where companies offer coins as investments for startups. That's a big business. Salaries, let's have a look. They are massive salaries, so let's have a look. Go to this website called PayScale, look out for blockchains, and look at the salaries. Everything has got 12 lakhs. These are for freshers. Have a look at it. See, have a look which the companies which are hiring. These are all big companies, right from Accenture to Tata's to Mahindra's, everybody hiring. Have a look at PayScale. You need not go through this slide right now. Take it at your leisure. But this is an important slide. Now, look at this. Forbes said this is the wheel of fortune for blockchain professionals. If you look on one side, you have blockchain engineers and developers. Demand is 9 on 10. Now, these are technical jobs, quality engineers. These are all technical jobs. On the flip side, you have a marketing specialist who doesn't have to be tech savvy. Is a 9 on 10 as well. So I told you, there are lots of jobs for everybody. If you are in a technical space and want to get onto the marketing side, yes, you have an opportunity. If you're in the tech space and you want to get into the project management side, yes, you have a fantastic opportunity. or most important, you have 16, 17 different variants of jobs to choose from. And this is a beautiful slide. It just shows the block. If in an engineering side, in the computer science, you are doing computer science or you're doing BCA, MCA, etc., computer applications. Look at that opportunity. There has been a growth everywhere. I don't have to spell it out which one outperforms every other engineering role. Have a look. That's blockchain engineers. So who recruits? Everybody recruits. Lots of people recruit, but these are the guys I teach personally. I speak to them and I train their existing people personally. And do you know why I do that? Because they say we don't get good blockchain talent in universities and colleges. It's time to change that. I want the capacity building to start at good institutions, because these people say we'll come to them. We will go to the institutions, but tell us, sir, where they are. So I tell them now where they are. So I'll be more than happy to bring these to your institutions, these and many more. These are just a few, and there are many, many more. So let's wrap it up with some facts and figures. We've seen a lot of stuff now. We see some facts and figures. Now, 2024, 2026, another 5 years from now, blockchain corporates will spend 20 billion only for technical services, and the projects will exceed $360 billion of value. Again, the numbers are what? Opportunity. Next, the world's largest banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Citibank, Citizen Bank, all are putting $50 billion to build a blockchain-based digital cash settlement system. Now, see, blockchain can't replace a bank, but they can replace a digital cash settlement system, the Forex system, the settlement system, the bank transfer system. So that's where they have invested, and they would not invest if they did not find blockchain to be a threat to them. Now, it's no longer a threat. They adopt blockchain and are made friends with blockchain. There's a saying, if you can't beat them, join them. They joined it. And that includes India. India too, 7 banks led by ICICI and Axis Bank had now gone on to JP Morgan's blockchain platform. India is not far behind. In the next 5 years, all banks are expected to get on to the blockchain, excepting the ones being sold by the government right now. Everybody else, because they will not spend money on it. Anyways, 55% of healthcare applications will adopt blockchain, and blockchain investments in startups has boomed by 280%. It's 2019. In 2020, this has increased from the last year figures by a whopping 394% from 2019 to 2020 figures. So that's massive. Financial companies also have figured out that they save $12 billion a year from using blockchain. Why wouldn't you use that? Why wouldn't you save $12 billion? Yep. So that was what's happening. Now let's just have a look at 2-3 slides. What's happening across the globe as well. We have the Prime Minister of Australia say we have to adopt technologies like blockchain. And what has he done for it? He's created a job maker agenda. What is the job maker agenda? It shortlists the jobs in demand in their country, and they encourage people from across the world to come and join them. And they have started a program which actually fast tracks your PR, that is your permanent residency applications, if you are a blockchain professional. Not AI, not ML, not robotics, not cybersec. No, none of these. But if you're a blockchain, right, guys, you're welcome to come very fast, because the job maker agenda has a role for 35,000 to 40,000 people in the next 2 to 3 years in Australia. So that's an opportunity for you guys also. Similarly, in Canada, we have Navdeep Bains talking the same thing. By March, they are also going to have a blockchain preferential visa. So you have an opportunity, again, not only in India, but if you are looking at international exposures and opportunities, bingo, we got it. Dubai, as you know, has by the end of 2020, it declared itself to be a complete blockchain city. Almost every process is on the blockchain. Great jobs there as well. So wrapping up, What we are doing in India, for example, to bring in blockchain skills, we're setting up this fantastic centers of excellence. We've already done with several colleges now and universities in India. We're working with the Queensland government to bring about a lot of great education. All right. We got education, we bring in the internships, mentoring, networking projects, live projects from the government of Australia as well. Employment, we partnered with 41 countries, 41 companies in Australia, several in India to deliver, to get all our people trained in blockchain placed nicely. We bring in a lot of research and consulting projects to colleges and universities. That's very important for the growth of blockchain, where the faculty also gets involved in the research. Some of the partners which are doing along this with us in India right now is the government of Queensland. We have the United Nations backing. We got Disney Dragon Chain with us. So we got lots of other big names in the space. So there are fantastic things happening, including partnerships with University of Illinois, Block in University of Washington. A lot of things we got on the payroll. So that's an opportunity. We try to build good capacity in our country. So I'll sum up with my last slide. If you have to look, why should I become a blockchain expert? Why not just why I can just do my AI or cybersec? Fine, you can do that and have a great job as well. Good job. But if you want a real great job, double, triple salary, yep, you choose blockchain. It's cutting edge technology. There is no other technology which is as cutting edge today as blockchain. It's a very high demand. Oh, we've seen all that throughout my presentations and slides. It's a very high demand. It's got vast infrastructure. It's global. The infrastructure is global. Fourth is the most important, multiple industries on blockchain. We've seen how almost every industry is getting on the blockchain. And the fifth is very interesting. It integrates with new age technology. So blockchain works with AI, blockchain works with cybersec, blockchain works with cloud, it works with IoT, it works with everything. That's the beauty of blockchain. Six, it's at the inflection point of today. What is an inflection point? The point of takeoff, where it is just taking off now. And what happens when technology takes off now? If you are part of it, you become the veterans of it. That's your opportunity. And finally, for all students, it gives you good pay, great career, job prospects. Not just a good pay, job prospects. 3 years, if you're in the blockchain industry, your salaries shoot up to about 40-45 lakhs. A CTO typically earns over 1 crore with about 8 or 10 years experience. We've just hired for a leading bank in Bombay a chief blockchain officer with a great salary of 2.1 crore annual package. That's a lovely salary, 12 years experience. So that's your opportunity, guys. Think about it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. So thank you a lot so much for that. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them now.
Dear students, thank you very much for joining us in this informative session. And now you are invited for asking questions. And you can open your mic and camera if you are asking the question. I have already shared the feedback form link for getting e-certificate in the chat box. So all of you are required to fill up the very small Google form for getting the e-certificates. So now students are invited for any question or doubt, or students are also invited for any feedback.
I think the students have understood everything, I guess. No problem.
The student has written the question on chat.
Okay, yeah. Sir, you can open the chat box.
Yeah, chat is in channel meetings only available to team members. I'm not a team member, hence unable to open the chat.
Okay, one Aditya Rawat asking what are its disadvantages?
Oh, yes. Just like any other technology, blockchain is not away from disadvantages. There are quite a few. There used to be, now there are lesser. But one of the disadvantages was, I'll mention two important ones which have now been rectified. One was the speed at which blockchains could be created. Initially, we had blockchain being created very slowly, taking more time, and therefore consuming more energy. Those are the two major disadvantages. Now, with a lot of quantum computing and a lot of technology upgradation, starting 2020, Visa and MasterCard can process over 80,000 transactions per second, and blockchain could do only 10,000. That was one problem. But now, with new developments in Ethereum and other technologies, that has gone to 350,000 transactions per second. But that has come about now in the last 1.5 years. So that was one problem. First was the slowness of it. That has been mitigated. The second one, because it was slow and it took time to create it, because you use your computers, you use energy. Now, energy consumption has become less because the speed has become faster. And some countries are now also using solar and renewable energy. So these are the two challenges. And the third one was, after all, it is written in code. So if somebody writes the wrong code, there could be a problem. But that is true for any technology, not just for blockchain. So these are some of the challenges. But the biggest challenge, in my opinion, is the challenge of not understanding the technology. People don't understand where they can actually implement it and how it can be implemented. That also now is becoming redundant because more and more people are getting into the blockchain, understanding where it can be, and so on. Fourth and final, everybody thought blockchain was Bitcoin, but it's not. I've explained that to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Raj Kapoor sir, for your precious time and efforts you took to share your vast and valuable knowledge with us. And in the last, I would like to thank to the students for joining us in this informative session. And on the behalf of the department, I would like to thank to the IITM management for giving us an opportunity to learn about blockchain technology from the expert like Raj Kapoor and add value to our wisdom. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Raji. Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Raj.
Thank you, all of you. I see a lot of people.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.